I welcome everyone to the first Mixes Outlook post game of the year. We got Raymond Lyons joining us from Tier First Arena. Scardo W. Jr. and Wilson Tarpe Jr. Washington in the preseason opener. They fall to the link 77-66. We saw Washington get out to a really fast start. Minnesota kind of worked their way back in the second quarter. And in the third quarter, it's almost all Minnesota. But Ray, you were in the building. Your thoughts on this one, and then Cardell.
Yeah, they definitely started off the game pretty well. The wheels basically fell off in the third quarter, but still some positives. The first thing that stood out to me was the Mystic size. Like that's a big team, man, and yeah, that's definitely going to pay some dividends. But to start out the game, their aggression on both ends kind of stood out to me as well. They were getting downhill, being decisive, playing with pace, and defensively just had a lot of active hands and fighting through screens, which caused some turnovers, whether it be drawing offensive fouls or just blowing up the play and getting a steal. And just overall being disruptive. That's if that continues, that's going to be a positive for them. It was good seeing Georgia out there in her first minutes in the Mystics uniform. Offense just looked like it flowed with her in the game. She was getting quality looks for her teammates, making good decisions, and just kind of controlling things. We know kind of what to expect from Sonya at this point. She just picked her spots and got into the flow of the game. Rory Harmon, man, I loved her scrappiness and good decision making. That play in the first quarter when she threw that wraparound from the baseline to the left wing and led to a hockey assist that got a nice reaction from the crowd. Then, for the most part, the whole team's willingness to defend. I understand it's preseason, but I'd rather much be asking if they can do it against starters than if they're willing to do it at all. So yeah, man. We always harp on the defensive end. So if those things continue to manifest themselves, it'll work out for the Mystics. But yeah, overall, the middle of the second quarter and the third quarter, things just kind of unraveled. They couldn't hit the broadside of a barn, man. For the game, they shot 28% from the field, 25% from three, and 63% from the free throw line. So of course that's got to improve. But you know, first preseason game, a lot of new faces. Of course, this isn't going to be the team we see them taking to the regular season. So yeah, man, just looking for little things that I feel would be beneficial for them to carry on into when the games start counting.
Ricardo, you take away from this one?
Yeah, man, like Ray said, it was good seeing Georgia kind of get in there and get in the flow for the first time, and real action. Um, Definitely love how she set the table when she competed defensively. Shiftiness. She got in the paint a lot. Drew a lot of defenders when she got in the paint. So I expect her to find a lot of open shooters that's going to knock things down as the season progresses and the chemistry grows. And the Mystics are only going to get deeper once they're healthy and everybody's back from overseas and healthy and ready to go to play. But in the game they kind of lost it in the third quarter. Obviously, outscored 26-7. They didn't shoot well from the field in this game at all. In that third quarter, they were 1 for 14 in the quarter, literally 0.71%. So yeah, it was a rough shooting quarter. And meanwhile, the Lynx hit damn near everything. They were 9-16. You know what I mean? Led by Sailor Parfenberger, who we know well, obviously Terp. So she made a hell of an impression in her first preseason game, trying to stick on that roster with near double double. But like Ray said, it's preseason. Anybody not gonna harp on that? Anybody gonna trip too much on that stuff? They got work the kinks out. That's what exhibition and preseason is for. So you get to the real thing, you ready to go. Lauren Betts, she wasn't the most efficient, but I like that she was physical inside and that she was with it. She was with the banging and with the physicality, and obviously she can make free throws. So it's just a win-win, man. 13-6 in 23 minutes. Not bad. Sonya, I'm not worried about her at all. I'm just kind of, my thought on her, even though she's playing, see when the regular season start, so to speak, she's proven. Cody McMahon, I like what she brought 4 for 10, 11 points, 3 rebounds, 2 assists. Kind of bringing that versatility that we saw on draft day. And yeah, they have the potential defensively to be a problem. Especially once they're healthy, they can fly around. They versatile, like Ray said, they're big. They can get in the pass lanes, and they're more athletic, far more athletic than they were last year, and that's a problem. So they can have fun with this lineup, trying different things. Man, they can press you. Um, they could put lineups in where the size is like 6'1" to 6'7", depending on who they want running. Running point guard like Sony can run point and have Betts at center. You got like Shakira and Kiki up front or something like that. You seem like they can do so many things with this lineup defensively and offensively where it could cause team problems and match up with any team in the league, man. So it's just about building chemistry, man, and they get that over time, especially when everybody get in there. Um, the only glaring thing I would say they got to figure out is bench points 52-25. That's too wide of a gap even in the first preseason game, man. You know what I mean? That's just crazy. So, but again, we'll see when everybody's whole and Johnson. He's messing with all the lineups because I'm pretty sure the depth in that bench once the team is fully healthy and whole and together, that won't happen again. You know what I mean? So, some encouraging signs, but obviously in the first preseason game, some things they need to improve.
Yeah, I agree with all the points you guys made. One of the things I know, Ray, you brought it up. They struggled to shoot the ball tonight. I was encouraged about the 40 trips to the line. I know it's only a preseason game, but last year they rarely got to the line outside of a couple folks. On a regular basis, we saw uh, they were getting into the paint on a regular basis and getting and drawing fouls. So it was just refreshing to see that you guys mentioned with the change of their size. They're bigger, and that leads to is bigger bodies getting downhill. So those collisions going to lead to whistles now. Versus last year when sometimes folks got knocked off the ball, they weren't able to turn corners at all. Again, just one preseason game, but I'm with you guys. It was it was a solid outing. And like you guys said, the 13 minutes with Georgia. Definitely looking forward to more of it for sure. But yeah, they got a chance where they might have accidentally went 3 for 3 last year, um, which sets them up pretty good. Uh, and I'm with you guys with Lawrence physicality. I enjoyed. I know again people didn't shoot the ball well today. Prosperous minutes out there, and then Bugs too. Just they got after it. But as always, I'll put it up on the screen for you guys. Oh, Sarah Poffenberger, Cardell, as you mentioned, there's a role left over there for Minnesota. Jessica Shepard used to be over there as that kind of that kind of flexible four. Um, 13 rebounds is a great way to possibly get your coach's attention. So shout out to Sailor for that. But, player of the game for you guys.
I mean, they got the preseason win. I'm gonna go with the former Terp, Shayla Poffenberger. I think she really came on strong when she got in the game, man. 9 points and 13 rebounds. I don't in any game that ain't nothing to dismiss. She put in work and she's showing she's willing to do whatever it takes to make the final roster and contribute to the team. And I respect that. Shot 50% from the field. Big spark plug off the bench.
Right.
Yeah, I agree. Honestly, kind of leaning towards her for both categories. She came in and like we said, the Wizards, the Mystics are not a small team. She stuck her nose in there and battled, and those 13 rebounds speak volumes.
All right. X Factor.
Yeah, I kind of agree with Greg. I'm gonna just say with Taylor. She definitely was exciting. I'm not even sure she's got. You would know better than I. I'm not even sure she got 13 rebounds at Maryland.
I know she had a couple double doubles, maybe 11 and 12
Yeah,
rebound games.
she got that out the gate in the first WNBA action. That's tough.
Like you said, that's one way to try to make sure you put your name where it needs to be. Put your name in that to make that final roster. 13 boards in any game, 13 boards off the bench. Yeah, that'll get some folks' attention for sure. Washington has, obviously they off tomorrow. Week of practice, the preseason finale. I believe it's next Sunday, and then the following week get to action. They open on the road, I believe, 2 Fridays from now against Toronto, and then they come home for the opener. So keep you guys posted, see what it looks like during the week. Obviously, get over to the channel, but yeah, just solid outing for sure. Definitely, definitely positives to see, and I can't wait to see the growth heading into the preseason finale next week.